Hi, if you are an international student that intends to move abroad, study abroad, and learn a new language, I'm here to offer you some tips on this particular topic. My name is Kaleka. I'm from Hong Kong, and I came to Germany about 3.5 years ago with little to no knowledge of the German language. Unfortunately, I had to attend a local German high school where all the subjects were taught in German. I went from obtaining the lowest grade in class to getting a grade that lies highly above average. And due to my performance at school, as well as the grades that I have received, the authorities at school decided to state on my report card that German is my first language, my native language. And after my graduation, I got accepted into the TUM, which is one of Germany's best universities. That is the Technical University of Munich, where I will be studying biology there. And I just hope that you'll follow along this video and enjoy the tips that I'm about to give. So the first tip I would give you guys is to focus on content and less on language accuracy and precision, especially when you're writing exams and especially when you're studying by yourself. It's also more important to focus on the subject itself, like the contents that you're supposed to learn, rather than the grammatical structures, and rather than, oh my gosh, where should I put my nouns, where are the prepositions, where should I place those prepositions. By the end of the day, it's the content that counts, especially when you're writing an exam. Personally, I always struggled with that because I always thought that perfectly structured sentences are very essential to convey the message that I wanted to convey. I realized, like, when you're writing an exam, you're not going to have that much time. You're not going to have that much time to contemplate on whether or not you should put the noun here at the start of the sentence or at the end of the sentence, or if you should use, in my case, accusative or dative, or like which prepositions you should use and whatsoever. It's not that important. You're not going to have that much time during the exams. And grammar mistakes during an exam, it's okay. It's definitely okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not write perfect sentences. The teachers, they're gonna get your meaning, and if they're not, they're just gonna write questions mark next to it. That happened a lot of times to me, but I still got points due to the fact that I wrote one of the key vocabularies in the sentence. In most subjects, there are a lot of key vocabularies that you can learn, and as a non-native speaker, the advantage that we have is that our neurons have not associated with these vocabularies before. They're completely new to us, and we could definitely associate those subject-related meanings to the vocabularies much easier than native speakers. My advice is to just ignore those grammar mistakes for the exam and just concentrate on trying to bring the message across in whatever way that you can, in whatever chaotic sentence structure that you can bring to the table. Just bring it to the table and get the points. But I'm not saying grammar is not important. It is also important, and you should also learn it. Just don't let it cloud your thoughts during the exam and during the time when you actually have to study for other subjects. But that aside, you should learn grammar. You should definitely learn the grammar structures and definitely focus on language techniques as well, because it also overall helps your grade improvements and also in general your social life. It does have an impact on it. My second tip would be to study with the language that you are taught in. If your situation is like mine, where you have subjects taught in a different language, then study in that subject. And I know it's easier said than done. It's challenging actually, because I personally have spent 2 hours trying to interpret a 3-minute YouTube video. That wasn't fun, but I can guarantee that it is definitely worth it. When you write your exams, you're gonna have to write it in the language that you're required to write in. It doesn't matter if you have the information in your head at that time. It will be a struggle. It will be a much bigger struggle to actually convey your message and to actually formulate your thoughts into words if you did not associate those vocabularies with the language that you're supposed to associate them with instead. But it all takes time, and I would start slowly, step by step. It does improve, it does get better, as long as you're consistent with your progress and as long as you are willing to give it a try. The next tip that I would give is to definitely study with natives, like with native speakers. It could be your classmates, your friends. If you have the financial abilities, then you can also afford a tutorial. That would also help. But most importantly, you associate yourself with people where you could ask questions with, you could listen to them speak. And personally, I would also inquire about their study methods, because The study methods used differ from school system to school system, and you never know which one's best. So my personal tip is to always be flexible with your study methods. Always be flexible to change. You're not in your old school anymore. Your study methods they have to change. They have to change in order for you to improve, in order for you to grow. The methods that you could use to obtain the best possible grade are definitely going to be different than the methods that you have used before, because it's a completely different system and with completely different expectations. My personal study method is that I would usually summarize the key points into one page. I do not like writing very long sentences in my notes. I used to write the key points and bullet points, and I usually use visualizations to learn, so I also draw diagrams and mind maps and whatsoever. And then I would formulate all of this into an essay, because due to the fact that I lack the language abilities that most native speakers had, I had a really huge disadvantage, and it really helped me to actually formulate these things out. Also with the knowledge that I am making grammatical mistakes throughout the entire essay. Even in exams, I also make grammatical mistakes, a lot of them, but it does improve throughout time. The last tip I would give is to establish mutual beneficial bonds with your teachers. That's very important. That was something I really struggled with throughout the entire school years that I've had, because personally I always get intimidated by authorities at school, and I do not really like to establish close bonds with teachers. I would suggest you to definitely ask questions in class. It doesn't matter if those questions sound dumb, and the question that you might have in your head, it usually doesn't have to necessarily to do with the fact that you don't understand a language, or like it doesn't have to necessarily do with the fact that like it's because of your language improficiency or whatsoever. There are a lot of questions that I ask where natives personally didn't know the answers as well. It also doesn't matter if you make a fool out of yourself with your questions. I can guarantee you the regret that you have for not asking those questions will definitely be bigger than your embarrassment, because if you're a foreigner, if you're going to a new school system, you're gonna have to put your pride aside to grow. You're also a very intelligent human being, so just ask questions, go for it. If you also have the time and the courage to, you can also go on one-on-one talks with the teachers after class to explain if you got a bad grade. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. Just go talk to them, explain to them your situation. Yes, I'm learning the language, I'm still trying it out, and I would really be grateful if I could get tips or something whatsoever, just so they get to know you better. At the end of the day, it's your grade. Like, you're the only person who can suffer from it, and you have nothing to lose. You only have something to gain, especially if you're not really familiar with the people there, and you're not going to see them in a few years. It's your life, it's your personal choice, and by the end of the day, you're the only person who's going to possibly live with the regrets that you're going to have if you do not take the risk of raising your hand, of speaking out in class. And I'm telling you, giving an expression in class, speaking out in class really helps. And it doesn't matter if you make grammatical errors while speaking. It doesn't really matter if the teacher doesn't really get your message. It happened really often to me, but I still got a very decent grade due to my consistent engagement in class. So just don't fear embarrassment, just go for it. I'm rooting for you. It's definitely a very mutual beneficial bond with a teacher if you engage in class, because first of all, you get answers, you get help, and they get in return student engagement, and you don't have to be especially intelligent or smart or whatsoever to achieve the study goals that you have. It's all a matter of consistency and the right study methods that you use to obtain these goals. And I truly believe that each individual has the abilities to obtain the goals. It's going to work out. Just be brave and be bold and ask questions and create your own new voice with the new language that you're going to associate yourself with in the next years or the next days. So that will be it for my tips. I hope you found them helpful. I tried to summarize them as shortly as I could. I definitely wish you the best of luck. You got this. I made it through. You can do it too.